What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to yet another episode of the All Pro JAFFOs, where we bring you the highly elevated sports talk for the highly elevated sports fan. We're live on YouTube, on Twitter, on Twitch, and on Facebook. I am your host, JP.
Hey, yo.
Hey, yo.
The bad guy, as always, in certain situations, depending on who you talk to. And the best DJ in the entire fucking world, Mr. DJ Matchsticks.
What's up, people?
Nobody tells DJ Matchsticks what to play. Country K. Well, you guys already know. Country K will probably be on in a minute. We got Corey Hammond to talk more college football at 7:30. And yesterday was Thanksgiving. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. Bellies full, food comas in full force. Watching pretty good overall football. All three games considered. I gotta be honest. Look, you know me. I hate the Dallas Cowboys with all my fucking heart. Okay. With all of my heart, with all of my soul, with all of my being, I hate this fucking team. And it hates me to say it at times, but there are moments when, gotta admit, they look pretty fucking good. And yesterday was one of those times they look pretty fucking good. Especially Mr. Baby D looking CD Lamb. It all, like the announcers were saying, it looked like he just said, you know what, fuck two hands today. Everything that I catch is going to be one-handed, no matter what, regardless whether I'm open, whether it's coverage, whether it's right on me, whether it's up, doesn't matter. One hand is all I'm going to use. And whoever, I couldn't get the name, and it's good because, you know, he played like such shit. I forgot who he was, and that's absolutely 100% how it should be. How garbage that DB played, number 25. CeeDee Lamb hit him with the "you're too little." You hit him with the too little mark. Oh, here he is.
Here
Ladies and
he
gentlemen,
is.
the 6'10" beast from the Southeast, Mr. Country K. And waiting on the there he
There
is.
we go.
We were just talking about the Thanksgiving game, at least between the Dallas Cowboys and the Giants. The Giants jumped out to, what was it, 13-3?
13, yeah.
13-3 at one point. So they hit 13 points in the first quarter and just disappeared. Just absolutely gone. And the Cowboys just destroyed the Giants. I don't remember what the final score was.
It was 28-21.
28-20. Oh, so the Giants did end up scoring the garbage.
They scored at the
Oh,
end.
that's right. They got that garbage touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just, I don't know what happened. I mean, Micah Parsons was just being Micah Parsons. But it's just the Giants, it went from some would say they blew their wad a little too early. They gave it everything they had in the first quarter and just died off for the rest of the game. Just nowhere to be found. Daniel Jones was, he turned back to the typical Daniel Jones that we see. Saquon Barkley looked good early, but then just he couldn't get anything going. The offensive line looked like shit. But I mean, like I said, for the Cowboys' sake, they didn't look bad. Zeke didn't look terrible this game.
Some fucking penalties, man. They gotta get control of the penalties.
That is also
That's
true.
what I always fucking kill them. Penalty.
But just watching that game, I was looking at my dad going, I hate to say it. He's like, don't say it. I'm like, no, I hate to say it. He's like, don't say it. they look pretty fucking good. I was like, they looked pretty good this game. You know, I mean, you got
The last two
announcers now.
games.
You got announcers going like, "Oh, you know, legit Super Bowl contenders." Calm down.
Slow down.
Calm down.
Pump your brakes. Pump your brakes.
Before we start jumping back on Jerry Jones's nuts, just relax for a quick second.
Speaking of Jerry Jones, we got to talk about Jerry Jones.
We do got to talk about Jerry Jones. That's exactly why I brought him up, because I wanted to know how you felt about this, how both of you felt about this. Apparently, there is a picture that is out there of Jerry Jones at the age of 14 years old at a, God damn it, I forgot.
It was at the school, school where they were trying to keep the black kids out of the school,
yelling racial slurs and all the just horrible shit that went on. Well, Jerry Jones is there. Now, Jerry Jones claims it was a curious moment for him. Meaning he didn't know what the hell was going on. He just saw this big old ruckus and he walked over to find out what was happening.
Jerry, full of shit. I'm gonna call bullshit. We all know how Jerry is. Jerry from Texas. Jerry from Texas.
And said, no, he's from Arkansas.
Hold on, Jerry from Arkansas.
Arkansas, yeah.
Hey, look, hold on.
That ain't that much better, though.
Yeah, you asked, all right, so Masters gave his piece. I agree with that. I really feel like he's full of shit, but at the exact same time, devil's advocate, in the picture, he does look curious. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't look like he is like he doing the most. I agree that he's full of caca. For sure. For sure.
I mean, he also said that, I mean, he didn't realize, or him and essentially the rest of the people were there didn't realize the moment that was going on. They didn't really realize it. Well, nobody realizes at that moment in time that this is going to be something that we remember and that is a pivotal moment in history until after the fact. Obviously, in that moment, he didn't think, you know, oh, this is just another day.
Like that butt fumble.
You know, but when I saw that, I was like, one, that's a terrible explanation by Jerry Jones. A curious moment, no idea what the moment, because basically, like you said, he just proved that was just, it seemed like just any other day, a bunch of crazy white boys yelling at black people. Well, that was every day, apparently. But now, the picture shows that, because he can look at the picture and go, as long as there's no video, he can say, you know, oh, I was just there as a curious moment. Like, you know, I just saw a crowd and I wanted to see what was going on. But if there's video that surfaces of this, and we see Jerry Jones getting in on it, oh boy.
I mean, back then, that was just the time, though. Like, everybody, you know, they just didn't like black people back in that time, just like they don't like them today. So it's not surprising, you know, that we see this shit. It's not, I mean, we all know this about all the owners in the NFL. That's why you don't see too many black head coaches in the NFL. So you don't see no black owners in the NFL, not too many black owners in the NFL. It ain't like we ain't got money.
Right.
You know?
Right. That's the whole thing. It's not like it can't be afforded. So
that's just how they was back then. And hey, you just got caught in the moment. If somebody spotted your ass, you probably didn't think you were gonna get caught. Somebody spotted your ass and called you out.
And said, hey, Jerry, that you? Oh shit.
But I look at the end of the day, Jerry Jones ain't the one out on the field, so fuck Jerry. Fuck, you know, it's the, you know.
He's not the one actually playing the game.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, mine is oh man. There's a lot that's gonna come out. I do feel like a video is gonna come out at some point.
Yeah,
there's gonna be
they have videos back then.
Yeah, they have. Come on, they have videos of segregation. How you thought we saw them getting hosed down?
True. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that. Hey, I'm drinking this yak, man. Don't mind me.
Hey, look, no, all right, you get a pass there. You get a pass. You get a slight pass. Slight pass. I mean, you've been sounding like a real Cowboys fan this episode, so I had to make sure "Pardon the Fuck" was my background. You sound like a real Cowboys fan. I don't know how you feel, Josh, but that's just how I feel.
No, I get the same thing. It's either denounced or not. Which one is it? But I guess you could be happy for the team when you're not necessarily rooting for them. I get that.
Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that. Hey, nah, you denounce somebody. Look, that's like you saying fuck somebody. I'm not fucking with you no more, and then just be like, all right, I'm only fuck with you on Sundays. Like, like what? I'm only fuck with you one day out of the 7 days. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, not
and
every
that
day.
day seems to be the only day that you play. So yeah.
This week it was Thursday.
From denounce to we back. We going to the Super Bowl.
Nah, you ain't heard that come out my mouth.
Yeah, no, I ain't seen them going there.
I ain't gonna do
it. We'll see. December is getting ready to hit. The Cowboys are known for shitting the beds in December.
Oh no, that's for sure happening. Yep. That's happening.
It's a nice birthday present for myself. I'll take that.
Book it.
Nice little December gift.
Man, LeBron disowned them too, so you might as well just go ahead and just let him go.
I mean, he went to the Cleveland Browns. I mean, he's
regardless. He kind of that's his it's not really his fault, but that's his proximity. Like he had no choice. Like honestly, I feel like LeBron should have went to the Bengals. He should have been a Bengals fan. For real. You've been over there with Joe Burrow. This is my new family.
It is weird how he picked the Browns over Cincinnati.
I mean, Akron is not that far. But no, for real though,
But
I want to probably went to the bathroom.
All right, yeah. I'll open the door.
All right, so look. Okay, so Zeke looks so decent on Thursday.
What did he say?
He said, either way, we see in your face. Because your background. But so did you get a little bit more love for Zeke or a little bit more respect for Zeke after this game?
No.
No kind of love built back?
No. It's only one game.
Okay.
Consistency is key in this league. And speaking of consistency, the Lions have been consistently impressive this year. They were making Josh Allen shit himself on the sideline.
I thought they was gonna lose for a minute. The Bills, yeah, they got real close. Like shit.
Hey, them boys was hugging like Brady and Byron Leftwich to the Detroit Lions.
I put a caption. He's like, "I will not be the rose to your Jack." That's a Titanic reference for some of you guys don't know.
I saw you post that. That was funny.
For some of you who are too fucking young for that, yes, Rose let go of Jack. She had plenty of room on the fucking door. Yeah, so
yeah, she ain't shit.
When Diggs and Allen embraced each other like that, and he's like, oh my god, he's like, fuck. The announcer's like, yeah, and Josh Allen, he says, finally. I'm like, no, he did not say finally. he said fuck. Like, like anybody would be like, fuck, this game was way closer than it could have been. But I gotta admit, man, I mean, we've been very vocal on this show that we are, at minimum, slightly impressed with the Detroit Lions. And how many games are there left in this season? 6 games left in the season?
Yeah, for them, yeah.
And they're in the hunt.
I mean, the Packers suck.
That's also true.
The Vikings made it.
Vikings made it.
I said mid, but okay, that'll work too. The Bears ass as a whole.
But the Bear, well, as a whole, okay. I was about to say Justin Fields has been playing well enough, or that doesn't really matter. But
I mean, that's why I say they're the Vikings are mid because Jet Setter's been killing, and Kirk Cousins been okay because he's throwing on the ball, but Jet Setter been just kind of saving them because some of them throws been picks. You know what I'm saying?
Justin Jefferson has been absolutely ridiculous.
So that's why they mid. You got one superstar and a whole bunch of average ass motherfuckers and Dalvin Cook. So
is Adam Thielen average now?
Yeah, he average as fuck. He ate this last game, but he average as fuck his damn self. He average. I'm telling you. He average.
Good.
You got Jet Setter killing like that. Just think about it. You play tight end. You understand the balancing of the field. You cloud both players. What's wide the fuck open? And they just got Hawkinson. So if it's like that, then all right, cool. But nah, Thielen really just been like average as hell. Like he had them couple breakout years, then Jet Setter came and he been mid as shit.
Well, I feel like Adam Thielen has had the most because like you said, his first few years with the Vikings, he really balled out, but he had Stephon Diggs on the other side.
Bro, he was gonna be Cooper Kupp before Cooper Kupp.
Exactly.
Because he was really balling. He was really balling.
Stephon Diggs leaves. People start thinking, oh, this might be Adam Thielen's time to shine. Nope. Justin Jefferson. Adam Thielen has been hella unlucky in his career with the Vikings.
No, I wouldn't say that. He's been lucky. Adam Thielen, bro, if he get that number one, and they not gonna eat like that.
I don't think he'd be able to do it now. Yeah,
he not now in his entire career. Pick his prime. He couldn't have did that shit.
Prime Adam Thielen?
Nope. Nope. He not finna carry that team as a number one, bro. He was nice. That's why I say he was supposed to be Cooper Kupp before Cooper Kupp, but I don't know what the fuck happened. Because he was making that same rise Cooper did. You know what I'm saying? And then
he did a lot of he did get hurt. He did start getting hurt quite a bit.
And then Cooper Kupp just kept going. He just kept ascending.
Yeah. So. But it's just seeing the Detroit Lions. They did make. You guys saw the game, right?
Mm-hmm. No, I ain't watched none
of
them.
Were you as confused with some of the play calling at the end there as I was? When we're talking about the Lions?
Oh yeah. There was some shit.
That safety. When Jared Goff basically took a 5-step fucking drop into the end zone while you're on the 1 yard line. I'm looking at that going, why the fuck? And that was the second time in a row. That wasn't even the first time.
Yeah, not the second time they got his ass here.
That was the second play that he dropped back for at least a 5-step drop. And then they finally caught him the second time. I was going, you're at the 1 yard line. And not just DeAndre Swift, but Jamal Williams, I like him.
Oh, yeah.
He leads the league in touchdowns right now. I believe he's got 13.
Mm-hmm.
That's another player that cried on TV. I'm just going to say it.
It is. But I'm saying you've got these two running backs who, let's be honest, they were feasting. As soon as Von Miller left the game, it became much easier for the run game to be effective for the Lions. And Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift were, and they are very talented backs. They were feasting on that defense. But you're at the 1 yard line and you decide to drop back on third down. Was it third down or second down?
I think it
might have been a second down play.
Yeah.
On second down, you decide to drop back. No, it had to have been on third down because they ran, they didn't get anywhere. Then he dropped back the first time, and then he dropped back the second time. So it had to have been a third down play. But still, even then, it was like, and then they had another one where it was 2nd and 15. or like 2nd and 10, something like that. And they ran, I believe they ran a draw play that they only got like 2 yards out of. Maybe even less than that. And then on 3rd and 16, decide not to just throw, but throwing a tunnel screen that went nowhere. I'm like, what? Some of this play calling, I was just like, that's I don't know if I would have ran that. I don't know if I would have, because I feel like if those play calls had gone differently and done, different actions instead of what they did, we might be looking at a totally different outcome with the Bills just losing to the Detroit fucking Lions. You talk about an upset of the last fucking 10 years. That would have been it right there. But, we're talking about people saying that the Bills are, Super Bowl favorites and Josh Allen's MVP and all this other type of stuff. For the Detroit Lions?
Nah, the Bills are suspect right now. They, I feel like any given moment they can lose. They're very suspect right now.
Right. Josh Allen
does.
I believe Josh Allen leads the league in interceptions.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He definitely leads the league in interceptions in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's iffy. You can't really be an MVP of the league if you're turning the ball over in the red zone, especially in crucial moments. He's lost games because of doing that. So it's kind of like, the Bills are, they're good, but I don't think they're as good as people say they are. I don't think they would be able to beat the Chiefs right now.
Not right now, not the way they've been playing as of late. And not without Von Miller.
It's hard to think that they would even beat the Jets. Or maybe they would, because Zach Wilson just got benched.
No, but didn't the Jets beat them already?
I think they did.
Jets beat the Bills already. Better put some respect on my other team name.
Your other team name now?
My other team name. I got it, that's my number one. That's my number one team right now.
Hey, it's like, I can't stand this. What is going on? He's like, we're going to pick one. Oh, shit. And then we get to the Patriots-Vikings. And I didn't get to see much of it because I was on my way home. I was on the road. Patriots, how did that one end up? Did the Vikings win that game?
The Vikings won, yeah, but that was a close game too. The Vikings was fucking Jefferson at the end of the game to start balling out, but that was another close one. It was tied up all the way down. It was 26-33 was the final score.
See, now the Vikings are starting to be a little suspect.
Mm-hmm.
Because on paper, they should have blown out the Patriots. At least by 2 touchdowns. But that definitely did not happen.
Yeah, now it's kind of hard to come back from getting your ass whooped the week before to a Thursday game. You got to play a couple days later and expect to, they won, but, they damn near.
They almost gave that one up.
Yeah.
2 times within a week. But, oh, come on.
I had a dream.
You, come on. With the do-rag.
That's the best one yet.
Hey. I need to get a flag. Anytime K does something foul, I gotta get a yellow flag.
Yellow flag.
I'm gonna get a sound effect on here with a whistle, flag on the play, personal foul, 15 yards. God damn. While we're having a good time, let's keep the good times rolling, ladies and gentlemen. from You Already Know University.
You Already Know University.
Ladies and gentlemen, the quarterback, the college football analyst, Corey Hammond. What's up, Corey?
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. What'd you guys eat?
Oh, man. Ham, turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, Hawaiian sweet rolls.
The huge. None of you guys went like ultra, non-traditional?
No, I had prime rib. I had prime rib, the dressing, mac and cheese, all of the regular fixings, but the prime rib for the main meat.
I feel like you can switch out the main meat of the meal. And if Rob was around, he might pause me on just saying the word meat. So that's terrible. But if you change from turkey to something else, as long as you have the traditional sides, I feel like it's still Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
The sides to me is what really makes the meal. But I will segue into a pretty big win for my guy Jay over there today, since we're reporting college football.
Oh, and
we'll see how that goes.
Actually, I wanted to bring that up because I knew you were going to bring that up, and I wanted to make a thing that we talked about earlier, where I said that the Longhorns would win more games
than the Baker Mayfield-led Carolina Panthers. Yeah, he's ready today, Country K.
And from what I've seen, there's no way in hell that's happening.
I don't think the Panthers are getting the 6.
No, not at all. Not at all. And it's not even going to be close. I don't even think they have enough. We go down their schedule. They're nowhere near a good enough team to even pull off 2 of the next, few teams that are coming up. So another good day and another step towards being right at the end of the season.
May he rest in shit.
But is this season, because it could be over now for Texas until the bowl game, is this regular season for Texas something that you can feel okay with moving forward?
Well, as long as they get better in the long run, like as long as they get better next year and everything, it's not just a kind of one and done. Because even this year, I think there were things that happened that should not have happened. There were losses that shouldn't have happened. We shouldn't be 23 right now. There should be talks of, in all honesty, there should be talks of Texas being included in the college football playoff. But things
this year
didn't
already
work out. Yeah, no, this year. But things just didn't fall, whether it was an injury or, just defense wasn't working or just everyone fell asleep. Things didn't work out that way. But next year, it's going to be difficult because you're probably going to be losing. You are losing arguably the best running back in the entire country and Heisman hopeful now, Bijan Robinson. So, but you supposedly have Arch Manning coming, who knows how that's going to turn out. Just because you got the name Manning doesn't necessarily mean you're going to perform. But
and just because you're only 18 doesn't mean if you don't perform that you're not good either. That's something.
Exactly. There's going to be time
let's see how that goes. Poor with that transfer portal, they better watch their step.
Yeah, they gotta.
So what you're saying is that as a Texas fan, you look at the season realistically. If things break perfectly, you guys could have been in the college football playoff. You're not, but what happens if next year the record is relatively similar and you're in the same position where we're going to talk about this later when we talk about the playoff picture. Texas still has an very outside shot of winning the Big 12 championship, which is only 10 teams, but we can, discuss logic when we're not discussing college football, because that, is usually not how you have a college football discussion. But if this year is good, what is better and an improvement for next year, especially considering, like you said, Arch Manning might be, on the sideline, whether he's redshirted or not. And if there's 1 or 2 losses, they're going to be asking for a 18-year-old to be on the field.
Right.
Because we talked about earlier this year, one of the challenges for Jay's team, Country K's team, and DJ Madstick's team doesn't have an issue with this, but it is a challenge that they face every year, is the expectations for those schools, Texas, Miami, Alabama, are that when you're headed into the last regular season week and you're 6-3 with a win over your, after day Thanksgiving rival, and it's a mass season, how as Steve Sarkisian do you feel any mediocre improvement to next year might signal them starting to look for a replacement for you? And how is that a healthy environment for 18-year-olds and a coaching staff to grow and get better?
Well,
if that's the expectations, that this year, their first year with a new head coach, losing to teams like Alabama,
right.
I think they lost to TCU 17-10, and TCU is undefeated. So that's Alabama, an undefeated team. And who else did they lose to? They lost to, was it Oklahoma, or how'd that game go, Jack?
No, they beat the shit out of Oklahoma.
What was the final score of that game?
49 to goose egg.
Man, you rest in shit.
So obviously I knew that was the score. I just wanted you to be able to say that because that made you probably thankful today. Country K, I wish Miami blew anybody out. I would remind you, but I'm just trying to keep that out of the conversation. I've pissed you off, I think, enough this college football season. And yes, the Nebraska character from Belly without the glasses, Lamar Jackson. So kind of bring that full circle. When you're one of those 3 teams, and there's a couple of other teams that includes, one of them is Michigan, guys.
Right.
And the expectations every year are, well, why does Nick Saban and get to be in the championship conversation every year and we don't, right? And that is the most dangerous thing that's threatening all 3 of your programs, except for Alabama, because Nick Saban is Nick Saban. But I would ask DJ Mad Six, what do you feel about Alabama's season so far this year? Disappointment?
Very disappointed. They ranked like number 18th right now.
I know, and that's literally the worst place to be as a fan, because as long as if anything goes wrong, even hypothetically, even a little bit, how are you going to be thankful or happy this week? If you're an Alabama fan, they're sitting with an outside chance still at the playoff. They don't even have the threat of playing in the SEC championship game. And based on their season so far, they still have a chance, and that's a disappointment. That's why Jay jumped off.
There you go.
I was
about to say, that's why Country K could have
literally just turned off randomly. I was like, what the hell?
Well, last week it was my wife calling me on the phone. You could have a similar excuse if you want. But so for the Texas conversation, again, it comes back to Steve Sarkisian in the first year, 6-3, competitive against Alabama. Had a lot of moments where you look to the future and you're like, yeah, there's the start of something. Especially when it's a first year when he's not even getting the kids that he recruited in. I would say it's moving in the right direction, but let's be honest. How many Texas coaches have seen that 6th or 7th year where those recruits from their efforts are actually being, in the game, executing their game plan? I don't remember the last one.
Has been, the last real coach other than Sarkisian that just came around. I mean, you had Charlie Strong, who had hopes, and there were some good things that happened, but it's just the consistent losing to Oklahoma and the, just not doing well during the regular season, getting into college football playoff talks. When you talk about schools, like you said, Alabama, Miami, Texas, Michigan, all these expectations, it can be a very huge detriment to the culture and the program, because when you're so used to having success by having the same coach, forever, Texas had Mac Brown for forever. winning national championships with Vince Young. Alabama has had Nick. I'm actually curious to see what Alabama is going to look like once Nick Saban is gone.
You see what Florida looks like right now?
Exactly. Without Urban Meyer there, and then, Miami. I can't even remember the last long-term coach other than Jimmy Johnson that was there. That's been, when you have all of the success, that brings expectations. Long-term success brings short-term expectations. So I would hope, as a Texas fan, that they do give Sarkisian a little bit more to really work with like, if we build after this season, if this season it just gets a little bit better, or that step we're just like one or two pieces away, then the next year comes in and boom, light the world on fire, I'd be cool with that process.
If
I'd be all right with that process.
If Arch Manning, it's Arch. If Arch Manning is really going to Texas, and he's not, and Steve Sarkisian is not allowed to coach that young man throughout the 3 or 4 year tenure, then Texas failed their boosters, their fans, the players on their current roster, and the future recruits. Because Steve Sarkisian, if anything, knows how to coach the passing game.
Right.
And in the Big 12, if you have an elite passing game, ask Lincoln Riley over there with old Spencer Rattler. Ooh, he didn't press it. But with Baker Mayfield.
Spencer Rattler, not Baker Mayfield.
Shit.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So I tested you and you fast test.
Damn it.
If you have a passing game in the Big 12, you're going to be successful. And if Texas wants to be successful, they first need to start once again competing for the Big 12 championship consistently every year. And if they keep doing that, then maybe they can, if they stay in the Big 12, which they're not. But then we can start talking about the national championship picture, because like you said, if the things go right for Texas this year, maybe they're in the national championship picture. But that's way too early. And where they are is right on schedule. They're fixing problems, having a positive outlook, getting recruits. That's how you build a college football program. And if this was Texas Tech, it would have been a great season. But since it's Texas, we'll see. Now, let's get back to the more important conversations, because Texas did have a good day today. But I usually come on the show and I give you guys the best that I can. Now, I don't know if everybody remembers my upset pick of the week, but unfortunately, Baylor didn't pull it off against TCU. But
1 point.
Do you guys remember the earlier thing that I said in that segment? I just didn't elaborate on it. Arkansas Ole Miss. Check the tape. Called it. Boom. All right. So, what do you guys want to start with? You guys want to start with the game of the week?
Let's
the upset, or the more interesting and probably the longer conversation I'm going to save some time for is going to be the playoff picture, because as it is every year around this time, Thanksgiving is when it really opens up. It's a little bit messy this year.
That is going to require a longer conversation. So let's just go to the game of the week upset, and then we'll get into the playoff picture. So game of the week, what do we got?
Surprise, surprise, game of the week is going to be one of the biggest matchups this entire year. Now, we could go to other games and try to be, offbeat. Everybody's going to be talking about the one game I'm talking about, and rightfully so. National semifinal, biggest rivalry in college sports potentially. Now, I would say Duke, North Carolina basketball, but nobody watches nobody watches NCAA basketball anymore, so whatever. So Ohio State Buckeyes, Michigan Wolverines, 2 versus 3. Growing up, some of the best games that I anticipated were those matchups. It's been a rivalry for longer than any of us here have been alive.
Yep.
And almost always it lives up to it. And I am really excited to see what happens in this game. And it is my game of the week. Now, there's a ton on the line. There's a lot of big-time players in this game. And I'm not going to go too far into it, because I think we'll all know where our eyes need to be at 12 o'clock tomorrow. And it's going to be on that game. So here's my question. we were just talking about, Texas. And one of the things that you mentioned is that Texas coaches have been fired because they weren't able to beat the rival. How many of those years when Texas was losing to Oklahoma were they the superior team, though?
Reality-based speaking, they weren't.
And honestly, may they rest in shit and all that, but the fact is that when Texas was still trying to catch up to Oklahoma, there was a reason that they were trying to catch up, is because they were behind.
Right.
Now, Michigan has been trying to catch up to Ohio State for what seems like more than just the decade. It's like been since when? I don't know. Since,
it's been a long time since we've been
Desmond
looking
Howard did the Heisman pose. Like, when was the last time Michigan as a brand was a better brand than Ohio State? And in my lifetime, even when it was the Chad Henne Michigan Wolverines, even when it was the Drew Henson, Michigan thought that Drew Henson was going to be a better quarterback than their senior quarterback at the time. So Drew Henson, if you remember, the freshman, was splitting times with their senior quarterback. And do you guys know who that senior quarterback was?
Tom Brady.
Yeah, it was Tom fucking Brady, Michigan. So since then, Michigan's been catching up. Now, what Michigan didn't do is fire their coach.
Yeah.
And look where they are. Now, let's put it in perspective, though. What is the thing that Michigan has been missing in all of these years, all of these games against Ohio State, that it seems like Ohio State's been able to do, and recruit specifically, year in and year out, even if they leave Ohio State to go to LSU and win national championships? It's get the quarterback, right?
Yep.
Let me ask you guys this. In all the college football you've seen this year, can you name me Michigan's quarterback?
No.
So do they realistically have a chance in tomorrow's game?
Do they realistically? I think defensively and run game wise, they have a puncher's chance.
They absolutely have a puncher's chance. Any rivalry game, there's always going to be a chance for the team to win. I'm just saying, legitimately, if we cannot name the quarterback for Michigan, and I'm not going to give him the press right now, because if you guys can't name him, the problem is that the Michigan Wolverines right now have been playing, the stereotypical Big Ten football against stereotypical Big Ten teams. And they've been able to play good enough defense and run the ball well enough. And they've been running the ball great, by the way.
Yeah.
Run the ball well enough so that we don't really even care who their quarterback is so far. The problem is that for your quarterback to show up for the first time all season in the national semifinal, basically, I mean, if he does that, then we will next week. I will personally apologize. I will say his name outright. I will give everybody a history of him. And I will even tell the universe that he is a better quarterback than me, which, by the way, he is. He's a Division I guy. But we still don't know his name even this far into the segment. I'm not going to do it. We all know who CJ Stroud is, right?
Right.
And most of us know that there's NFL players' sons that are like the 5th and 6th and 7th wide receivers on Ohio State. So if your pass game literally is unnameable for Michigan, and you're going up against probably the best group of quarterback receivers in the country, that defense and running game better be special tomorrow if Michigan's going to win. Because what I think happened is that, once again, Michigan, who is behind Ohio State, much like all those Texas teams were behind Oklahoma, took care of their business. And now they're in a position where it seems like that they have a better chance than they should against the team. The Michigan's the team up north, so I don't know what Michigan calls Ohio State, but whatever.
I think they cross out the O's and everything.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And what I think should happen is that Ohio State should win a relatively close game for the 3 quarters. And in the 4th quarter, they're going to probably and likely separate themselves. If Ohio State gets out to an early lead, Michigan is not built to catch up. So that might be a game that we turn off before it even gets to the third quarter.
And we could be completely wrong, and they are built for that. They just haven't needed to use it.
And Ohio State is just as lucky as Michigan's been all season, hasn't faced anyone really. And the same critique that I'm having for Michigan is that they haven't proved it to me. Ohio State hasn't really proven it to me. I just believe in them more than I believe. I believe in the O more than I believe in the M in these games recently. So for that all being said, I realistically think that this is going to be like a 7-8 point win for Ohio State. But again, I've been completely unaware of who Michigan was all year. And I said that when my game of the week was going to be Michigan Penn State. And what I found out is that I didn't know anything about any of the teams either after that game, because I knew that Michigan was probably going to beat Penn State. I knew that Penn State was going to beat all the other teams that they've played since, and it looked the same. So I'm not even sure who Michigan still is. And if they are who we thought they were, then guess what?
They are who we
they're
thought
gonna
they
be.
were.
They're going to be, if they are who we thought they were, they're going to be on the outside of the playoff picture looking in again. But if they are who they prove to be, and we're wrong, then they just punched a ticket to the national championship.
Man, because I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Really, all that I've really heard about Michigan is the fight against Michigan State in the tunnel, and now it's 2 versus 3, Ohio State, Michigan. Last time it was this close in like top 4 situation, it was 1 versus 2, and I'm trying to remember who
It was Troy Smith versus Chad Henne. That was my childhood right there. I was in high school thinking that game was like 51-48.
Yeah.
That was one of the greatest college football games I've ever seen.
Yeah. There was just, but it hasn't been like relatively close since then.
And you know what the saddest part, and I think this will be the way we wrap this up. Remember, it was 1 versus 2 back then. And that was the BCS era. That was, like I said, I was in high school. That was a long time ago. We're talking about about almost 20 years ago that happened. That's how old we are also.
This is also.
But
I think I was in middle school.
What happened to that Ohio State team in the national championship? Blown out by the SEC. So none of it fucking matters. No, I'm joking.
It's just, I mean, it was blown out enough to the point where, yeah, you can say none of it mattered.
I mean,
considering the ass whooping.
As somebody who was rooting for Ohio State at the time, it didn't matter. So that is my game of the week, gentlemen.
Sweet. And what we got with the upset?
And I think whether it goes one way or the other, I think we're going to learn a lot for the first time about who Michigan is. And I'm willing to be surprised, because I like John Harbaugh, and I'm glad he kept his job, even though he should have been fired. If you listen to the pundits, every year for the past 6, if you ask Paul Feinbaum, he should have been fired the day he was hired. But anyway,
what do the talking heads know? They're just there for hot takes and getting people talking.
Well, what's made my analysis this year so much better, and why I'm relatively close to picking a winner in these upsets every single week, is because I haven't been watching those idiots. Because to just let you guys on a little secret, is during the fall football season, I'm a little bit busy coaching my 13-year-old and my 8th grade Woodbridge Golden Saints, which I will say, and I'm very thankful, guys, we won the chip this year.
Hey! Hell yeah.
So I haven't been watching these talking heads say nonsense bullshit about anything. And I've been more accurate in a lot of my picks than I've ever been. And that just goes to show you that, if you don't follow the sheep, sometimes you're in a better position.
Yeah.
Away from the flock.
That's why the outlook on everything is so much cleaner. Because we looked at it too, and even Kay said, even though that Baylor lost by 1, Kay was like, he called it again. I was like, well, it was funny because you messaged me saying, "Hey, sorry, I got it wrong." We were all like, "You were 1 point off." Like, come on now.
But
You weren't
and
that
also, like I
wrong.
said, I told you that Arkansas would beat Ole Miss too on that same broadcast. If you look in the earlier parts of it, I just didn't elaborate on that. So I did actually get a dub. So I don't know what the spread was on the TCU game, but I'm pretty sure it was more than one. So I was 2-0 on the day. But like I said, I did not put any of my own, hardworking, things. Can I say that I didn't bet on those games, so that's why they turned out. If I started putting my own money on them things, people would be upset because it would go exactly the opposite of whatever I say. Whenever I said it about whatever team.
Well, then we would make that a point to people, be like, "Hey, just letting you guys know, whatever Corey says, bet the opposite, and you will win some money." It would have just made it a thing. It would have been fine.
It's the inverse Kramer at that point, right? So what I also like is that you guys are the West Coast, and it allows me to elaborate on some of the Pac-12 points, which get relatively interesting, and then to segue nicely into my upset pick of the week, which I guess has become a relatively big segment on this show, apparently.
I mean, we're all eyes on it every time.
It's more and more pressure packed every week. Looking at it this week, there are a lot of available trap games for teams, and when you talk about an upset, it's not, there are a lot of things that I saw this week where a team that isn't ranked but is better than the team that they're playing, but it's the last week of the season. Those are sometimes, especially if you're gambling, where you might go because that, a team that's, it's their last game of the season, they're 3-6 or whatever, they're not making a bowl game, they're going to throw out all the stops and they might cover where they shouldn't. But my upset pick of the week, game of the week, I'm looking at the Apple Cup. And Washington just had a big win recently against Oregon. And they got a very high ranking now, which is always one of those situations when I'm looking at upsets, I'm like, who's ranked higher than maybe they should be? And although the Huskies have proven to have a really good season and they should be proud of themselves where they've been, where they've come from. And, when they beat Oregon in a way that was Oregon playing a good game. Washington rose to the occasion. Their quarterback, I think it's Penix Jr. He's a lefty, but that's his only mark on his game because he is able to make smart decisions, throw accurate passes, and, pocket passer. I can, game recognizes game. He has the mobility that changes that situation and makes those potential negative plays as positive often enough. But he's not there looking for the run every single play. He knows that he's going to, make plays down the field in the air, which are more effective than, let's run every play and just turn this into option. That being said, Washington State is home. It's the Apple Cup. And if Washington wins, they might be looking at the Pac-12 championship game. So a group of 18 to 22-year-olds getting a pat on the back for a top 10 win, which they weren't even ranked, and now they're 15. Now they're the team. All we got to do is take care of Wazoo. Well, I think that they're in for a shock. And the Washington Huskies, are likely going to lose to the Washington State Cougars tomorrow. Cam Ward in Washington State, they've been a tough out every single week. And this isn't your Mike Leach Washington State where they're going to put up 40 but allow 70. They've actually been playing a couple of games with some defense. So that being said, you add in the fact that this is a rival game, which makes it a more even matchup regardless. The only thing is that Wazoo did win last year against Washington in the Apple Cup, and it was an upset. So that sometimes steers me away. But I doubt that those kids for Washington even remember 4 weeks ago with the amount of TikTok and how short their attention spans are. I'm very, very sure that they're not remembering last year against
What
Wazoo.
happened last year?
Coaches reminding them.
Oh, I mean, no, it's going to be a game that we look forward to seeing because when it's when it's been part of the upsets, you've been more right than wrong. So it's kind of, and if you're wrong, it's really fucking close.
Well, let's hope we didn't just jinx it by giving myself so much credit today.
Oh, probably, at that point, if it starts turning the other way, it's like, oh, okay, no, now he's just talking out of his ass. That's fine. Again, we can turn it either
Recency
way.
bias.
It's going to be a very fun segment.
I'm only as good as my most recent pick anyway. So there you go. So my upset pick of the week, even though Washington, they should be feeling great about that Oregon Ducks win. We always love a Duck mascot, and when they go down, we're a little bit upset. But fuck the Huskies. They're gonna lose in the Apple Cup to a Cougar. Dogs usually beat cats, but not in this situation.
We're talking a very different situation. Oh,
oh boy. So Country K had this one up a little bit. I mean, I was looking at this one up before, right? Mm-hmm. I know he's listening. He's not speaking as much. I should allow you guys to speak more, though. I do apologize.
You're giving.
I'm thankful that you guys allow me to turn as much oxygen into carbon dioxide as I do during your guys' show, because I think I'm feeding most of the trees in the rainforest just from our Friday night spots.
I mean, it's giving all the information for the games that we need and all the picks, everything. It's fine. Trust me.
And just wait until college football season's over. If you invite me for the occasional NFL talk, oh boy, you already know. No, if we were talking NFL, I couldn't wait to start predicting the downfall of these New York teams. And if you want after, I would love to talk about Zach Wilson and the Jets, because that makes me so happy. But
it's funny because Matt Sticks is a newly proclaimed.
Yep, see, he got off just in time.
They're soft.
That's my team. I run with the Jets right now. I'm really a Cowboys fan.
Oh my God, man!
But they be making me mad right now. So I got to roll. I've been rolling with the Jets lately. So
now look, yo, coach, roster, everything about the Jets to me is really great this year so far, guys. Honestly.
Yeah, and it's the quarterback.
Ah, yes. And what's the most important position in said
quarterback? It's the quarterback.
Wait, what is going on? Wait a minute.
What's going on, Jay, is
we go.
Is that your boy, your Mormon rich boy that everybody loved because he fucked the mom, right? Is taking the spotlight off of the 49ers boy Trey Lance and how bad of a pick that was.
Hey, I've been saying it forever.
The only worst pick, and the only reason I can talk about it is because none of you guys were Jets fans, so I didn't feel like piling on. But unfortunately, DJ Matsticks is here. No, stop it. The Jets are not going to hijack a college football segment. They can talk about it afterwards, but fuck the New York Jets. They're one of the worst run organizations ever in the history of the world. Fuck the Jets. Sorry, DJ Matsticks. You didn't get the memo. I grew up as a quarterback in the 90s when there was no red zone. And when you would fuck around and watch the Jets, you would find out that the Jets quarterbacks had nothing to teach my 8-year-old ass about quarterbacking.
See, the only reason I picked the Jets because I was like, the Cowboys was fucking up. So I'm like, I'm going to pick a team where I ain't jumping on no bandwagon. I'm just going to jump on the bottom of the line ass team. And so I picked the Jets, You
should have bought the Bengals low. You should have bought the Bengals low. Right now, the Bengals are low this year. They're going to fix the offensive line, get a little bit more defense, and then next year their passing game is going to be up to par. They're going to make it back to a Super Bowl maybe. You should have bought the Bengals low. You shouldn't have bought high on the Jets. That was a bad move. You bought high on fucking GameStop when it was like 300, and now that's down to 13 again, and you're like, fuck, where'd GameStop go? I thought we were going to the moon. You bought GameStop. You bought GameStop after Robinhood turned the button. You couldn't buy it on Robinhood. You called a broker. You're like, hold up, I want to buy this stock that everyone's selling right now. Their quarterback looks like a Disney character and can't complete a quick screen in an NFL game. Oh my
Oh,
God. Thank God I never have to face a Bill Belichick defense and have to talk about it afterwards. Jesus Christ. That's why all these no-name quarterbacks like Bailey Zapp are able to play in the NFL. Is because they have to fucking run a scout offense against Bill Belichick. And imagine that job. Oh my God. Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time. He spent 1 fucking year as the scout team quarterback for the Patriots. The next year he wins a Super Bowl. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Fucking Jets. All right, so college football playoff, gentlemen.
I was gonna say when it comes to the college football playoff, and we were just talking about Michigan and Ohio State being 2 and 3. Depending on how this goes, if it's a close game, like 3 points or less, who's number 2? Ohio State or is it
Ohio State, Michigan?
So Michigan's number 3. So if Michigan wins, they just flip to 2, and Ohio State moves to 3. But if it's an ass whooping, then either or is getting booted out of the top 4.
All right, so this is messy, so I had to write everything down. Mind you, I call the offense for my 8th grade team with not a play sheet, not a playbook, just from memory. I have 1,000 plays, and I can do that. But when it comes to the college football playoff, I have to refer to paper. Okay. So etched pretty much in stone is Georgia's ticket to the college football playoff, right? They're undefeated right now. Their only other game right now is Georgia Tech. All right. If they lose to Georgia Tech, then fuck it, whatever. Just fuck it. Just throw this paper in the air. We'll talk about the New York Jets. Okay. So if Georgia loses to Georgia Tech, when I come on the next show, the whole entire college football segment will be breaking down the goddamn Jets, and then have the Adam Sandler the Big Daddy little kid saying the goddamn Jets, and then we'll be hammering that, and I won't even mention Baker Mayfield's name, so you won't even have to ever press.
May he rest in shit.
That's fucking great. Yeah, you just nailed that shit. Anyway. So Georgia has Georgia Tech, SEC championship game. Oh my God. And talking about the SEC championship game is going to even get crazier. But let's just assume that LSU, none of the crazy apocalypse scenarios go down, and LSU is the one that makes it in, right?
Okay.
LSU has the head-to-head win against Alabama, and that pretty much almost makes it so as long as LSU doesn't do what they very likely could do against Texas A&M tomorrow. All right. So, again, when we start talking about this, it's going to get crazy. But Georgia basically penciled in. Even if they lose in the SEC championship game, a loss to the eventual SEC champion is not as bad as some of the other losses that we're talking about. So Georgia is pretty much in 1 through 4. We can find out, but almost punched in.
Yeah.
Ohio State, Michigan. The winner almost likely is punched in. Now, if they lose the Big Ten championship, it's not going to be to one of those teams. So it's going to be against the Penn State or Northwestern. One of these teams is like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if they lose that, it's
and then we're talking about Alabama, DJ Madsticks, again in the national championship playoff picture. So
they're number 7 right now?
They're 9.
No. How do they still have a chance?
So the Big Ten winner tomorrow is likely in. Okay. You mentioned, and let's table that. You mentioned the loser. Now the loser will only ever have one loss, and the one loss might be to the Big Ten champion. So what we have to do is based on how highly we view that Big Ten champion, and like you said, how close that game is how highly we're going to rank that team that might lose tomorrow. But then let me just take you down the list of what we got. The next is TCU, and they almost lost to Baylor, which mattered in what we were talking about. But to the College Football Playoff Committee, when a team's undefeated, if they edged it out against Baylor by 1 point, it really does not matter at all. They're still undefeated. Tomorrow they play Iowa State. Iowa State's 1-7. I think they're safe. If they lose, then it's because of the pressure, and I actually feel bad. I usually don't feel bad. I called for them to lose last week, so if I feel bad, it must be really bad. So then their only obstacle from being undefeated, which then we talk about, if they're an undefeated Big 12, does that mean that they're guaranteed? And I don't know. But the only thing stopping them from being undefeated is the Big 12 championship game, in which their likely opponents are Kansas State. If Kansas State beats Kansas, which Kansas had, they had a pretty good start to the season. They were able to schedule a couple of wins early on.
In-state rival, though?
Well, Kansas State, if they win against Kansas and an inferior team, they likely are in, with no questions whatsoever, the Big 12 championship game. Now, if they lose, Texas, Jay, has the head-to-head win against Kansas State. So then Texas would be in the Big 12 championship game against TCU, who they just played and only lost 17-10. So to me, TCU has a game on their schedule, whether it's against Kansas State, which they did win in the first matchup 38-28. They have a head-to-head win against that team, so they should be able to figure out a way maybe. But what's happening is week after week, this TCU team is not only playing the opponent that they're playing, but they're playing the expectations and the pressure that's building onto them. Right. And that's why I called for an upset last week, and it almost happened. But they did manage to pull it out, and that's what teams of destiny tend to do, right? That's what Cincinnati did week after week last year.
Right, and they made it.
So that's TCU. They could be undefeated. They could easily lose to a Kansas State or to, and make Jay's day, Texas.
It would actually.
And those are who's in the 4 now as we sit literally at this moment, which obviously 2 of those teams play each other.
Mm-hmm.
So then let's say that the team that loses, whether it's Michigan or Ohio State, slides out. You know who that next team is at 5? USC.
Fuck.
And now all that talk about the Pac-12 and this and that, USC has 1 loss to Utah. So that's not a bad loss. And if they win the Pac-12 championship game, not bad. But guess who they got this week? Notre fucking Dame.
Rivalry game. Okay.
And now I think USC has the better coach, quarterback, and roster. But you just said it, Jay. It's a rivalry game. It's a rivalry game, and Notre Dame has turned a corner, and they're starting to play some pretty damn good football. They're beating teams that they shouldn't have beaten in the week that they played, and they're once again ranked relatively high, which I think is probably where they should be, which is like 18, 17, 12, wherever, depending on where you look.
Just out of the top 10, essentially.
Out of the top 10, not a contender for the championship, but a team that nobody really wants to see on their schedule. And if you're at USC, who else have you played? Not much. You played UCLA last week and you won, and now you got Notre Dame. And if you take care of business against Notre Dame, then you're either going to play Oregon or Washington or Utah in the Pac-12 champion. It's really convoluted and it gets really into it. But let's say they play Oregon. And they beat Oregon.
I think they would have a better shot at beating Oregon than they would a Utah.
I think if they play Utah again, the thing is Utah played their best game and won by 1 point going for 2. I think that USC has the advantage in that game. To bring it back to, because Corey Hammond, to bring it back to my Woodbridge Golden Saints. In the playoffs, we played a team in Cranford, the Cranford Cougars, guys. And they beat us in the regular season. And when we played them in the playoffs, that extra fire for kids, now they're a lot younger, but these college kids are still kids. Jay's going to dip out on us for a second, but he knows what it is. Those Cranford, there he is. So my kids going into the playoff game after losing to Cranford earlier in the season, we shut them out and beat them 14-0. My son had both touchdowns, a passing and a rushing touchdown. So that revenge factor, I think, with kids and college kids too, I think that matters. But USC, if they beat Notre Dame and they play to their potential against Oregon, who always fails, guys, except for last week against Utah, always fails to live up to their expectations, that's a pretty good resume. I actually like the USC resume if they win out. And I think I actually like their resume better than the Big Ten loser. And I almost think that I might like their resume better than a TCU undefeated team, but the playoff committee is not going to do that. So that's USC. But let's be honest, USC has a chance to lose not only one of those games, but they're guaranteed a spot in the Pac-12 championship game. They might lose that game too. So they could go from 5, they could go to like 18-25 in the next 2-3 weeks. That's how close their shot is. But if they win out, they have a lot of good wins and a lot of good wins late. And their one loss was a 1-point loss to a team that we all pretty much respect in Utah. It's not like losing to, Wyoming. It's losing to the Utes. And and that was a balls to the wall game. And you can't really take away USC because Utah earned it. Okay. So then we have a bunch that are right outside of that because we could realistically see the 2 or the 3 team lose. We talked about TCU could legitimately lose in that Big 12 championship game. And USC has the potential 2 games that they could lose maybe both. So that means of the 5 spots we've said, 1 is guaranteed to lose and 3 have a decent chance of losing. So that means that the number 6 LSU, the number 7 Clemson, and the number 8 Alabama are looking at these opportunities and thinking if they take care of their business and mayhem happens in front of them, that those 3 teams have an outside shot. Clemson likely is going to be easily able to win the ACC championship game. I don't think that they should jump in front of any of these other teams unless they do lose. But if TCU loses, they're going to lose in the Big 12 championship game. So it's not like they lost the game against a tough opponent, but they're still the conference champs. They wouldn't even be the conference champs. And if they do win the conference championship, but they lose to Iowa State, who is 1-7, then they don't deserve to be in the college football playoff then either. If USC loses to Notre Dame or in the Pac-12 championship game to Oregon, Washington, or Utah, depending on who actually makes it there, I don't think that they deserve to be in. And then the Ohio State-Michigan loser, Michigan beat Penn State. That's a pretty good win. Ohio State, they've beat every team that they've played, and they've looked like a top-tier team. I think they played Notre Dame earlier in the season, and we thought it was going to be an absolute blowout, and actually seemed like it was relatively close.
Right.
So, if those things happen, what I'm looking at is LSU. And LSU is 6 right now, and they have Texas A&M. Tough game. I think they win it. They could lose it. But then LSU plays Georgia in the SEC championship game. And then this is where it gets crazy. So let's say Georgia gets the SEC championship game. They're undefeated. LSU gets the SEC championship game. Let's say Ohio State, just to make it easy, Ohio State beats Michigan because that's what I think is going to happen. Michigan has 1 loss. TCU goes undefeated. But I think they're probably going to lose in the Big 12 championship game because the pressure is too much. And let's say USC loses to Notre Dame but wins the Pac-12 championship. That means that LSU, if they beat Georgia, would be in. Georgia would be in. Ohio State would be in. And now you're looking at TCU, USC, Michigan, Alabama, and Clemson. Do you put TCU over Clemson, Alabama, Michigan,
I realize
and USC.
You're giving me a nightmare scenario right now.
And that's really the point, is that where we're at when we have 4 teams in a playoff and we have to limit it to 4 teams. And let me do this one. Right, Country K? When we have that setup, how the hell do you narrow it down to 4 fucking teams? Legitimately. When we realistically could do 8 right now, and the 8th team might win it all. Because the 8th team is who, DJ Matt Sticks? And I know you're on mute. Because it's your fucking team. And let me ask the panel this. Is there any team that you've seen in college football right now, maybe other than Georgia, that Alabama could not beat?
Tennessee.
Yeah, because they don't have another shot at it against this year, right?
That's true.
But that was close. That was a close game. That wasn't a blowout.
Yeah, but Hooker tore his ACL, so.
Yeah,
let's also add the right texture to that game. Bryce Young was hobbled and injured and on the injury report that game, and he toughed it out, and he was a baller. I would argue if he's 100% health, that game might go a different way. Yeah. But once again, we're in the situation where what's the purpose of the college football playoff? It's to determine who, in the most fair way possible, who's the best team. Because the AP poll was never fair. The BCS championship was never fair. And now we have the playoff system. And how are you legitimately going to tell me that if Bama right now is the 8th team, they have a shot and they might get in, but they only play Auburn and then we never know? If they're the 8th ranked team and they could win, because the other teams outside that are Tennessee, Oregon, Penn State and Washington or rank out the top like 12. And I think Tennessee could win. We all know Oregon can't. And I'm pretty sure Penn State has no shot. So really what you're looking at is the top 8 teams in college football this year have a legitimate argument to be in there. But number 4 at TCU, I would argue, would lose to all of these teams: USC, LSU, Clemson, Bama, Tennessee. They're losing all of those teams. You put them on a neutral field right now, TCU is going to lose to USC, LSU, Bama, Tennessee, Clemson. Easily. Probably by multiple touchdowns. So I ask you, committee, if TCU runs the table, and let's say just a normal amount of mayhem happens, is TCU a better team than a 1-loss Michigan, a 1-loss USC Pac-12 champ, or a 1-loss Clemson ACC champ, or even a Bama team with 2 losses?
No.
So let's just hope that Jay gets his wish and that Texas and Steve Sarkisian are Big 12 champs. Because if TCU does run the table, we're going to get another Cincinnati situation. And then if they're 4, whoever is the number 1 team is going to get a bye week, and likely they're going to have an easy shot against the 2 and 3 that beat each other up, which is what seems to happen every single year, that there's this 1 through 4, because that 4 seems to be open for that, Cinderella team that we want to just give credit to. And then they get blown out, and then nobody cares anymore after that.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like the 8, what would you think would be better? Would you think 8 is fine, or would you go as far as like 16?
So how many major conferences do we actually care about having a bid in? Because I would argue
if we're talking in fairness, 16 would cover all the, at least does
the Mountain West and the Sun Belt champion have a legitimate gripe in the who should win or whatever? Should they have a shot if they win their conference to get a chance to play in what we call the championship playoff?
I mean, I would think so. Maybe. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you have 16, that guarantees. Well, it doesn't even guarantee that Mountain West teams would make it because they're still going by the ranking system. So
What
even
I was going to
if you
say
have a
is that
Mountain
if
West champion, depending on the record and strength of schedule, they still wouldn't look at it the same way.
well, and to be fair, if a conference champion in some of the smaller conferences was guaranteed a spot in the playoff, that would actually be good for the conferences because then these conferences wouldn't be these colleges, excuse me, these universities wouldn't be changing conferences just to align themselves for more money and a better shot. You wouldn't worry about, San Jose State, if they're successful for the next half decade, being poached by the Pac-12.
Right.
But I don't think it would be fair to some of the teams that are better if there's only 16 spots to say that the 16 conference champions play a championship tournament. And we're realistically saying that the Mountain West and the Sun Belt champs are better than Michigan right now if they lost to Ohio State, and LSU if they lose to Georgia in the SEC championship game, because that's just not based on what we've been told the college football tournament has always supposed to be been. We have to assume there's a little bit of this eye test stuff because there's so many teams that you can't have a true round robin, and without a true round robin where everybody plays each other, you aren't able to accurately assess who is the best team based just on the head-to-head. So we have to assume that these teams are a little bit better. So what I would do is, if you have the SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC, the Big 12, and the Pac-12 champions guaranteed spots in the playoffs, I think you would see less of this. Texas A&M has to be in the SEC. You would see that UCLA and USC would absolutely stay in the Pac-12 because they would have a better shot. And the distribution of where guys play college football wouldn't be as far from their home base, which I think would be better for the children and their families. But nobody gives a shit about kids in college football, so let's never talk about that ever again, unfortunately. So if you gave 5 guaranteed spots to champions, then you would have 3, at-large type bids. Likely 2 or 3 every year would be in the SEC. But I think that you would get a representative top 8 that I feel like there would still be a gripe about who that 8, 9, and 10 teams were.
Mm-hmm.
But you would reward teams for winning their conference. So, for instance, Texas right now would still be playing meaningful football, and it would open up a lot of opportunities for these fan bases to still have an outside chance at the playoff.
Yeah.
If they're able to take care of their conference business, which we should be thinking is a way to go about it. And then these teams would make sure they took care of business in their conference. They would make sure they did take care of business in their conference champions. And there wouldn't be this, weird exclusion of all of these conferences because their championship game doesn't mean anything. And we weigh whether the Pac-12 is good or not on the Georgia-Oregon week 1 performance when, let's face it, these kids didn't even have a preseason. Oregon's preseason was facing the best team in the country and getting murdered.
No.
So,
I mean, the whole playoff system as it is right now, it still has BCS feels to it. Even though it's
let's
promoted
look at
as
basketball,
something
right?
that's different, it just, even like I'm saying, like, even though it's promoted as, the outside chance, it makes it easier for the top 4 teams have been relatively the same since the inception. There's always the question of, Alabama has a loss, two losses, and yet they're still in the national championship picture. It's kind of still has those feels of, they still have the committee of putting the rankings of where they're at, and it just happens to fall where they fall, and that's who's in the championship game. I think if you I almost want to say, or ask at least, what do you think of possible like coaches, players polls about the top teams instead of leaving it to the media, essentially?
Well, the thing is that my scenario, right? You have the 5 champions, so it's a fixed goal. It has nothing to do with anybody's opinion.
Mm.
For 5 of the spots, and then 3 of them can be the opinion where those outliers would be. For instance, we have the goal is find the best 4 teams, right? I just told you that the 5 power conferences, there's 5 of them. So we will never have a situation with 4 that the champs of those conferences matter, because we have to discuss which of those champions is a better champion.
Right.
Right. So immediately when you talk about 4, championship picture is out. So what do? We look at the best teams. You could make the argument based on strength of schedule, talent on the field, productions in big games, and just eye test. You can make the argument that right now, the best 4 teams in the country are Georgia, LSU, Alabama, and Tennessee, all from the SEC. Now, I wouldn't make that claim, but you could easily make that claim, and it would be tough for people to shoot you down in a way that you had no validity to your statement whatsoever.
Right.
So what you're saying is that it's hypothetically possible that the 4 best actual teams, if we let everybody play everybody, are from the same conference. Many of those in the same division in the same conference.
It's insane the amount of talent and just that goes through that conference.
Well,
it's an absolute monster.
And it continues to build on top of itself. But the other thing that you would then be saying is that if we go to a coaches and players poll, it's literally just the same thing, because no coach or no player has enough time to watch every single game. No coach and no player on any of these teams can name 3 guys on San Jose State's roster. And I guarantee, even though they probably know that they're the Spartans, they don't know it's a Duck mascot. So how could you know? How could even a committee of 8 people whose job it is, and if you remember, Condoleezza Rice was one of them, so okay, but whose job it is to know college football? How could they even know it when every year we talk about it and then they say, oh, well, those people aren't staying up to watch the West Coast games. They're on fucking film. Like, you could just wake up the next morning. Okay. So having coaches and players, having anyone give a poll is just an opinion. It does not matter at the end of the day, because an opinion really is just worth how much you weigh the opinion. You guys have a high opinion of my upset of the week based on the success of my past opinions. But if Washington comes out and wins 50-0, my opinion is now gone and nobody gives a shit about my upset of the week. So just like the NFL and all sports, they give tickets to their playoff tournament based on a fixed goal. Now, professional leagues have 80, 100, whatever games so that we can have these teams all play each other, so there's really no confusion. We can't do that. I mean, we could, because let's be honest, nobody gives a shit about these kids' health or class schedules. So the only reason we don't do it is because the way that the system works now is that the bowls bring in so much money based on the current system that even though we could literally turn each bowl game into just a playoff game with the same sponsors and it would be similar to the same amount of games and no one would lose any revenue, people are still saying, oh, well, it's impossible to do this. It's just impossible.
No.
Okay. If you give teams a fixed goal, okay, and for instance, exactly, Pac-12, just win your conference. Don't worry about anything else. Just win your conference. Big 12, win your conference. ACC, Big 10,
Big 10,
SEC, Win your conference.
Yep.
Oh, man, I can't get in. Well, guess what? San Jose State, Louisiana Lafayette. Yo, Tulane is actually ranked relatively high this year, boys.
Who would have thought?
If one of those teams has one of those special seasons and they're undefeated, guess what? Here's your 8th spot. Here's your 7th spot. Here's your 6th spot.
Yep.
In the early rounds of the playoffs, we're going to find out if you're a real team or if you were just undefeated because you played nobody. And you're going to play one of the best teams in the country. And if you lose, you don't have a shot anymore. If you win, this wasn't just a Cinderella story. You've earned the right now. And then guess what? I think at that point, they would be in the national semifinal, in the Final Four. And they would only have to win.
And then with that, not just bringing prestige to your school, but to your conference, saying, hey, in this conference, we have teams that are just as good as everywhere else. So it starts to bring up more and more and more. And then you start getting more talent.
And if San Jose State or Boise State or whatever state, right? They start doing better in recruiting. They start dominating their conference. You could have one of those situations where it doesn't matter if you win your conference championship or not. As long as you're undefeated and you're one of those outside teams, you have the ability. If you keep winning, everybody likes to talk about the University of Central Florida when they actually went undefeated, and then they beat Auburn in a late. I mean, it was early January, so it's early January. But they like a good bowl game. I think it was the Fiesta Bowl, Sugar Bowl, one of them.
I think it was the Sugar Bowl.
And they were claiming that they were the undefeated national champs. Now, they didn't have a shot. They didn't even have a chance to claim the actual title because they weren't even given an invitation to the playoff. In this 8-team scenario, it's not perfect either because let's just think about this. Every year around March Madness time, there's 68 teams that make it, and we still are complaining about the ones that didn't make it because they feel like they're better than the last team that made it in. Now, we see teams go on runs where they have 15s or 14s or whatever. But what we almost never hear? Remember all those teams that were on the bubble and were like, oh, they just made it in. They're not the 16 or 15 or 14 seed. Those Cinderella stories are conference champions. What we never see is those bubble teams become those Cinderella teams because they weren't good enough to be considered for the tournament, really. So when we go to 8 teams, the 8th argument will be a situation where it's Alabama at 9-2 versus Cincinnati that's 11-0. The Big East or the American Conference or whatever we want to call that ridiculous formation of random schools throughout the country. Who do you put in at 8 then if it's Cincinnati or 2-loss Alabama? And we're gonna have the same conversation. So there's no way to make it perfect, but if you at least put in 8 teams, that TCU undefeated, but we really don't believe in you like entry wouldn't be in the semifinal game. It would be in the quarterfinal. And then if that team just is out of there, the semifinal would still be probably the best 4 teams in the country, one way or the other.
Right. Well, I mean, there's a lot that's going to... I do like that aspect of guaranteeing the 5 spots to the Power 5, essentially, the Power 5 conference champions.
Yeah,
and then the other 3.
But then what happens if it's like this year and TCU is undefeated? They make the Big 12 champion. Who are they playing? Texas, 7-3. Texas is 8-3, ranked 18th, and now they have a ticket punched. So then people are going to be pissed that way too. So there's no way.
We beat the number 4 team in the Pac-12 championship. Give us a spot. I don't even care if it's 5 or 6. That's what I'm saying. The 8-man team. You're giving
the number 4 team is what TCU is being called by you. Are they the 4th best team in the country that you've seen? Yeah. So
no. If we're looking at like actual who is better on paper, Like, no. But
On
when
paper,
we're looking
on the
solely
field.
on record, I mean,
And
it's
that's where this is going to be
strength of schedule.
always. And that's where this is always going to be a topic. This is always going to be something that you talk about, no matter how many teams you bring it out. Because the thing is if you then bring it out to 16, then what's going to happen is that 18th ranked Notre Dame team that is non-conference is going to be asking to be put in front of a one-loss, at that point, let's say it's a Big 12 team that is, a one-loss Big 12 team that they're ranked 15th. But Notre Dame has 2 losses and it's to Ohio State. It's always going to be something to bitch about because at the end of the day, these teams are never going to be able to play each other. No one's ever going to be able to get on the same page. And the NCAA actually enjoys us being upset about it because guess what? We still watch the goddamn game anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when all is said and done, we're still watching.
So to recap, I think it's very clear, and we've gone over it enough to say that when the Jets drafted Sam Darnold Jr., who was a rich kid who never seen any press because he was in fucking Utah, and they started him with no competition right away, with no qualified teacher of the quarterback position, either on the roster or on the coaching staff. The fact that you aren't just completely okay with a 21-year-old kid who's most famous for fucking his friend's mom being an asshole on television, and you're surprised at this, just shows that the Jets and the Jets fans, and excuse me, DJ Matsticks, because I'm sorry, you don't fall into this category because you weren't around watching Sam Darnold. And let me say this: when he was drafted, a West Coast inexperienced, turnover prone guy who made one elite throw in a pro day. Wait, which one are we talking about now? The same fucking guy.
Knowing that you're from New Jersey knows or tells me even further that you know everything that's been going on about the Jets, and I can see the frustration is just
No,
mounting.
honestly, I knew from the day that they drafted Zach Wilson that he was going to be a bust. You know why? Because if they drafted any human being in that draft and said, hey, the guy's last name is LaFleur, so he's going to be your offensive coordinator. We're going to get a defensive head coach, and he's going to build up a fucking sick-ass defense. But you're going to start day one with no chance of success, with an offensive line that's not very good. And our left tackle is most famous for being able to run a 40 time, which is not something that an offensive lineman has ever been asked to do on an NFL roster. And whose fault is that? Is it Zach Wilson's fault? No. Is it his friend's fault? No. Is it the friend's mom's fault? No. You know whose fault it is?
The goddamn Jets.
And if the Lions are respected around the NFL right now because they were on Hard Knocks with Dan Campbell as their coach, if the Lions with Jared Goff, who no one likes, everyone hates his face. He went to a Super Bowl. They hate his face. He looks like Ryan Gosling and they hate his face. Ryan Gosling was the worst racist in one of the best football movies of all time, and he's America's fucking sweetheart. But we hate Jared Goff's face?
Yeah, we definitely do.
Yet if
That was
I
all
asked
accurate.
you, if I asked you what's a better run organization right now, and last year the longtime quarterback for the Lions won his first Super Bowl with the goddamn Rams, a team that Jared Goff was just on, and I asked you which organization do you trust more, you might say the Jets because everything else but the quarterback it seems like they figured out. But this is a hot take. If I'm the Jets, I'd rather have fucking Baker Mayfield than Zach Wilson.
May he rest in shit.
And even though you hate him,
That's on the
let's
grind.
be honest, Jay. If you had to win a Super Bowl with the roster that the fucking Jets have right now, and I gave you the choice of may he rest in fucking literal shit, Baker Mayfield and Zach Wilson, who would you want to quarterback your team if your life depended on it, not just money or you could live through it?
Yep. There it is. And the more you fuck around, the more you'll find out. And I wanted to say I like the reference you pulled earlier too, Corey.
Which one specifically?
when I first put this up, the background up, and then you tied it in on your take. I like that.
Well, I got to get back on your good side. I've been watching Miami games all season, waiting for something good to happen. I'm like, shit, Country K is never gonna like me.
No, dude, I've been the same way. I've been having to turn games off early.
Yeah, I really like their quarterback too. I was wrong about that kid. And fucking, I was saying the kid from Stanford was gonna be good because he was tall and white and threw a spiral. That fucking didn't work out either.
Shit, man. But let's pull this demon out of fucking Josh right now.
To answer your question, I'm petty enough to just say Zach Wilson.
You gonna go with Zach Morrison over fucking Baker? You're tripping.
Listen, I would go with Zach fucking Morrison.
I think I'm petty enough to just say fuck it.
I would go with Zach Morrison, a 30-year-old, or he's like 40 now. I would go with Zach Morrison over Zach Wilson.
Sure.
Hey,
listen, if you sit at a fucking press conference and have that face on after the game that you just fucking played, and you don't at minimum give them what they want, then fuck you. You should be on the fucking bench. Now, what did I say before, though? Why did he play poorly last week against the goddamn Patriots?
Belichick.
Why did he play poorly?
It's because Belichick is the best fucking defensive coach you could ever go up against. And when you're used to playing Mountain West teams because you play for BYU, you're not prepared to face the Patriots, regardless of who's on the roster, if their coach is Bill Belichick, right? Zach Wilson has not looked like a may he rest in literal shit type of quarterback against most of the other coaches in the league. So if Zach Wilson just took his beating by the media and said, you know what, that's a hell of a defense and a hell of a coach, and he saw me seeing ghosts like fucking Sam Darnold once said, and they gave him shit for that, but not like this. Did you let your defense down? You know what? I let the whole team down. Is he benched if he says that shit?
Nah,
No,
Mike White will still be third.
And he's in front of all of New York City. And you know what? It's not fair because the general manager for the Jets should have known that when you put a 21-year-old blonde rich kid in front of New York City and you ask him a tough question, that he's gonna fucking kill himself. And he might as well resign from the Jets and just start over somewhere else. Maybe Kyle Shanahan still loves that one stupid throw from the pro day. Remember that?
I very much don't
Let me
care
ask
about
you
that draft because we didn't draft anybody.
Let me ask you who you think has better stats at this point in their career is this many starts. Zach Wilson or Jamarcus Russell? Exactly.
I don't think that's fair though. Jamarcus Russell got drafted to the Raiders.
But the Jets team this season is
the Jets are just as bad an organization.
But
No,
the
I ain't gonna
Jets
say
team
that.
this season is much better than any of those Raiders rosters ever were.
Yeah, I agree with that. But that
I mean,
old
you got to
line is
remember, Marcus
ass.
Russell was the first overall pick. The Raiders sucked. They
Yeah.
were trash. Their
Yeah,
fucking
that's what I'm
coach was
saying.
Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
I love Lane Kiffin as an entertainer. I'm not asking him to run my professional organization.
No, I have his daddy run the shit, if anything.
Monty Kiffin was a fucking G.
Yeah, nah, I'm good. I'm good with Lane.
If you run a cover 2 right, I suffer every fucking time. I throw that post and somehow that safety still is always there. I'm like, I did what I was supposed to do. I hit that rail seam. Somehow the corner still sinks far enough. That cover 2 was monstrous.
Oh shit, Corey! Always a pleasure to have you on, my friend. Great insight, great entertainment, the whole package. The quarterback of the Cheneau tribe going into this season in the A7FL. Catch the A7FL 3-on-1 podcast with him, Matt Ryan, and Big Rob. Which, by the way, tell Big Rob we're waiting on him. I talked to him. I messaged him.
Okay.
A few weeks ago. He said he was down.
Yeah, get him on. Oh man, if you had me and him on, and we, not necessarily about. I don't know if he would be prepared for college football because he's got kids and shit to do too. But I would allow him to invade my time slot if you guys are with it. I'll talk.
Oh, no, that's what I was thinking about it. Going like you two on together, that'd be very fun to have on the show at the same time. But yeah, give Matt, give Big Robbie, and give the family and everybody our love. Appreciate you going on once again this Friday, ladies and gentlemen of the Jaffa Army, the one and only Corey Hammond.
Well, I'm thankful that I have an army to call my own.
Yep.
Gentlemen, I appreciate it every week. DJ Madsticks, I'm so, I'm just so sorry for your heart and soul that you chose the Jets, man.
Man, it was just the bottom team, but you know who my team is.
At least if you chose the Giants, you would be able to root for the white Lamar Jackson. But
nah, I can't go with the Giants. They know who my team really is, but I'm just going for the Jets right now.
No, we're gonna have a discussion about that right now.
No.
Do you guys know who the fastest clocked runner of the football in the past 2 years was?
Please don't tell me it was
White Lamar, Daniel Jones. No. Let me ask you this. Does this sound familiar? Quarterback that averages over 6 yards a carry in design run plays. Offense that has 0 wide receiver targets for him to succeed. Somehow they still manage to win. But one guy is given shit because he's always been a running back, and we know why that is, Country K and DJ Madsticks.
Mm-hmm.
And one guy looks a little bit more like me, and all of a sudden he went to Duke, and now he's a better throat.
Yeah, no.
Niners.
What? What?
But that's nobody else
Are
get
my
into
team out of this
White
all
Lamar
of a
Jackson.
sudden?
I may be incorrect, but Daniel Jones was clocked last year on that play he tripped, running miles per hour faster than almost everybody in the league except for Tyreek Hill.
Yep. Bad.
Faster than even Lamar Jackson. But anyway,
yep.
Happy Thanksgiving late to all of my Army friends and family. And as always, thank you for dealing with me.
No problem, Corey.
You already know.
Don't be an asshole, Corey. Always good to have him on. Okay. Do we have the picks in front of us?
JP, you think you beating me this week?
Let me see. Let me look at it as it stands right now.
As it stands right now, you're getting your ass flipped. As it stands right now.
Both my leagues. Shit. All right. Well, Ramondre Stevenson got me 20 points. It's projected that I'm going to beat you. I only have one player that's played. Pretty much your entire roster, other than
So it changed because it was different.
You're winning 92-20, but it's projected me to win 157-150.
I don't think you're gonna win.
I'm just telling you what the projections are. I'm not going to say whether or not I'm going to win or what's going to happen. I'm just saying that's what the projections say.
Hey, I got a question. Man 6, did you beat me when we played earlier this year?
Nope, not that one game.
Oh, okay.
We'll play again.
Oh, okay. And he needs some self right after.
We'll play again.
He's like, oh, okay. I'm gonna check out for a second. The list of games. What do we? So we just had 3 Thanksgiving games. So Sunday and Monday. Well, I mean Monday's obviously the one game, but Sunday is going to be a little bit shorter of a day. Less games that are going to be on. Kay, do you happen to have the games in front of you right now?
Yeah, actually. Actually, I do got the games in front of me, huh?
I'm kind of fucked up right now. Shit. I'm ready to go eat some more Thanksgiving dinner.
I was say I see you over there.
And when he said the non-traditional, I forgot to tell him I had Cornish hen.
Yeah, see, I don't fuck with Cornish hen. I remember my grandma used to cook that shit when I was younger. I never could really get with the little baby chickens.
See, look, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
See, I always needed the whole chicken. That just wasn't big enough for me. I didn't eat a little baby chicken.
Here's the thing, though. Check this out. Check this out, though. My toaster oven, right, got a rotisserie setting, so it comes with a spike and everything. So I've rotisserie 2 of them.
Mm.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? Like it was a whole different fucking situation. This ain't your grandma's goddamn Cornish hen. Now.
Yeah, still a little baby chicken though. I need the whole chicken. That's like the little chicken that couldn't.
That's true. That's true. But the flavor you get from little son bitches, it's the same thing like with the fucking Bill shit. It's the same thing. Like when it's young.
Drunk Mad Sticks is the best.
I feel it. Like that's why I made 2 of them. It was a 2-pack for under $20. Shout out to Safeway.
Right, I picked up the dinner and went up to my parents' house.
Mm-hmm.
And we stopped by the Food for Less over there in Oroville. Now, I got like a 10-pound turkey. It was only the 4 of us. I didn't need to get a big old turkey. So I got a 10-pound turkey, but it said it was like $30. But shout out to Food for Less because when I checked it out, they said, "Oh, your turkey's only $9.95." Who? $20 off my turkey? I'll take that.
Oh yeah, Winco. Like if you spend over $100, your turkey free, no matter what size.
Really?
Yeah, every year. Yeah, no matter like if you spend $100, you can get like that's what I did last year. Like we spent $100.
Bro, that's not hard to do.
I had a fucking 20-pound turkey.
Yeah, that's not hard to do. Rack up $100 at Winco.
Nah,
That's not hard.
Especially for Thanksgiving. Get you a free turkey no matter what size. Shit, don't think I didn't go in there and look for the biggest bitch that was in there.
You goddamn right. The biggest everything.
Right.
This is the free biggest turkey we are ever gonna have.
Right. And only ate like one bite of that shit and didn't eat no more. Gave it away. I really didn't want no turkey because I was like cleaning that shit and I was like, this shit just looked nasty. Just a big ass bird with no head.
He said, "Fuck it, I'm going." He said, "I'm going with the prime rib."
Hey, look,
that was last year. I didn't even bother buying no turkey this year. We just had prime rib this year.
That's not a bad alternative though.
Nah.
I like that. Prime rib's hella good.
I feel you. I'm like Eddie Griffin on the T-Pain 3 Ring CD. I fuck right past the names. Headless goddamn bird. I'm gonna season his ass up real goddamn good. You hear me?
Yeah, that shit was just looking funny to me last year. I was just like, this shit is like nasty. So I didn't even like want none of that shit. So I was like, I only had like a little bit on Thanksgiving, and I was like, like fuck it, I'm gonna get that shit away. I don't give a fuck about this turkey.
Man, I ate turkey in a few different years on Thanksgiving.
I'm not gonna lie. I have thought about it, going like, trying something other than turkey.
I think next year I'm gonna smoke me a pork shoulder.
That sounds smoking some
Yeah.
meat. I don't have
Yep.
a fucking smoker. That's the damn problem.
I ain't ran my shit all year. I ain't ran my shit since last year. I ain't cooked shit on smoker. Yeah.
Disrespectful.
Right.
These are
I got
disrespectful.
the whole Traeger. I ain't smoked shit. And all this shit is, yep, I ain't had time. But now I got time because this coming year, man, DJ and shit, I'm like, if you ain't coming with the bag, I'm not even finna waste my time. I'm about to get on this streaming shit and just start streaming my sets.
Yeah.
It's too fucking, first of all, motherfuckers want to shoot up everything, so it ain't worth being out no more. So I run up the streaming shit and just make money trying to do the streaming.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
That shit is wild, though.
Yeah. So I was on there earlier before the show. I was on there streaming for like 45 minutes on TikTok. Just a whole last set on TikTok real quick.
Looking at
West
that
Coast
one.
mix. But
wow. But let's get through the picks. Okay. Game number 1. What do we say?
Game number 1 on the list. You got the Ravens and the Jaguars. Well, kind of know what's going there.
Yeah, I know we definitely know where Kay's going. He's definitely going with the Jaguars. Psych. He's going with the Ravens.
I forgot to click this when you said that.
I'm gonna go with the Jaguars.
Really?
I'm gonna go with the underdog. I feel like it's like an underdog weekend. All of the underdogs damn near won this weekend, but I feel like the ones that couldn't get through, the rest of this on Sunday, gonna get it for him. Get it for him.
It's hard for me to pick the Jaguars, basically because it's the Ravens. But that is an intriguing pick. Where are they playing?
In
You gotta
Jacksonville.
stop with that picture.
In Jacksonville. Mastic's rant right now got me feeling like that. The underdog shit.
It's the week of the underdog.
That picture.
Jesus.
The do-rag is throwing me the fuck off, bro. I'm not even lying to you.
That shit is funny. I didn't drink this whole bottle of cognac. I'm fucked up.
The disdain in his face with the do-rag is like a perfect background. I'm telling you, when I find him, I find him.
Oh shit. But they're in Jacksonville. Jacksonville just got
It don't matter.
not sued. They got a citation or something like that. They found hella rats at their stadium.
LJ.
Yep.
LJ for the win.
I think I'm going with I think I'll go with the Ravens.
New era. Anyway, next game you got the Broncos versus the Panthers in Carolina.
Broncos.
Panthers.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go with the goddamn Panthers too. That defense. After that, you got. So what?
I don't even think the Panthers is the underdog in that one. The way the fucking Broncos have been playing.
Yeah, no.
Oh no, they're the underdog. Trust me.
No.
He go. Oh shit, man! Just want people to lose.
Just one. Just one in particular.
Want dog for the lose. Goddamn, you gotta win this one, Baker. Shut his ass up, please, Baker. Shit.
Oh, you think one win is gonna do that?
Hell no, but that shit it's more. You gotta win more than 6. Goddamn it, that's for damn sure.
He's not
All
going
right.
to.
For the next game is the Falcons versus Commanders in Washington.
Commanders.
Falcons.
Yeah, I'm going with Little Taylor.
Excellent.
Next game is Bears and Jets in New York.
Jets. Mike White.
Yeah, but this is the Mike White game.
The great Mike White.
This about around the time he show up and win a couple games and be like, "Damn, Mike White."
And great white hope.
He'll come in, win a couple games, and he'll lose like a motherfucker. And then they'll sit his ass back.
Great white hope.
The great White.
2 wins right now, though. 2 wins. He win 2 games. Y'all be 8-5 by the time they sit his ass down. That'll be good.
I think I might pick the Jets here. Much to Corey's dismay.
I heard what Corey said. I mean, I disagree. I disagree with a few points. One thing I disagree for sure, Khaki Pants winning that shit. I don't know what he's talking about. Khaki Pants winning that shit. Khaki Pants ain't going for it. He's like, this is the first year we've been good for real. I'm like, y'all got me fucked up. Khaki Pants winning that shit. Hey, look, so the next game, because it's unanimous, I'm going Jets too. Next game is Texans versus Dolphins in Miami.
Dolphins.
Yep, buddy. Bengals versus Titans in daggone Nashville.
I think the Titans win this one.
Bengals.
I think Derrick Henry run for about 215.
I'm gonna pick the Titans too because the Bengals don't. The Bengals don't have Joe Mixon and they don't have fucking Jamar Chase.
He might be back. That is not for sure yet. He's been practicing.
Yeah, you hope that's the case.
You're not.
You hope that's the fucking case in fantasy.
I got another receiver to put in there. I know I got him starting right now. I got another receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'm be honest with you. I will hope he came back too.
Forget.
I got Jamar Chase in another league. I want him to be back just as much, but at the same time, I don't think he's gonna come back with P. Ryan at running back. I think he's gonna come back with Joe Mixon clear.
Just rest.
Be a fully fired fucking wheel.
Jamar Chase can rest this week. That's fine.
I'm sure he can. I'm sure you want him to. That's all right. Even if you rest, I got somebody for you. Don't worry.
I know you've got 3 receivers there that are just still looking at my nephew going like, you made the worst decision.
I told him I'll sit Chase. I ain't tripping. I'll sit him for a minute. I got other receivers to take his place.
Yeah, bro, you finna lose, Josh. You might go ahead and strike up the band. But now, so yeah, like I said, I picked Titans too. Last morning game is the Bucks versus the Browns in Cleveland. Go ahead, get your hate mail in. Get it in. I already know. Come on with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with Tampa.
Yeah,
I'm going to be smart and go with Tampa.
Yeah,
okay, go ahead and be smart.
I'm trying to figure out what way is he not smart at.
Of course, people saying that is Tampa.
No, I'm saying matchup for matchup. I understand. Like, first off, let's look at it based off team. Granted, the Browns got some dope ass running backs, and they got Clowney and Myles Garrett, right? Eliminate them from the team, right? Not necessarily eliminate from the team, but just like eliminate them from the conversation right now. The rest of their team is mid.
You got People Jones stepping up.
For you saying that man first without saying Amari when Amari was on your team for years, let me further know you know what time it is. You know what time it is. You know exactly what time it is. We don't have to go no further. Deshaun is not playing, so I am not worried.
I say him because I got him on my fantasy team. So
yeah, I feel you, but come on. He number 2, and we both know what time it is. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's finna get real ugly for the Cleveland Browns in the passing game. No, because we got our D line back.
Tampa losing by 6.
Oh shit! Clip that.
Please clip that. Make sure you put it out on the social media because
put that all out. Tampa down by 6.
Yeah, make sure
I told you it's the week of the upsets. Tampa suspect too.
So you telling me right now the Cowboys beating the Giants was an upset?
No, it wasn't no upset.
What about the Bills beating the Lions?
The Bills should have beat the shit out of the Lions the way the Bills been playing.
They beat them though. They won.
Barely.
They won. And the Vikings beating the Pats.
Yep, and
all of them supposed to
the
happen.
Browns for the beat Tampa.
Nah, man, I'm telling you right now, they ain't going down like that.
Man, it's gonna be a heartfelt conversation next week. I'm gonna make sure
Hey, he feeling good. He feeling good. Hey, look, he's feeling great right now. Just simply
man, I done damn near killed this whole motherfucking bottle tonight.
I'm telling you, he feeling great. And then he got a little talk. The doggone Jets got more wins than the Bucks right now, and the Cowboys. He got room to talk. It's all good. I just know my stuff depending on injuries, and everybody don't came back. So all of our key players don't came back. So
we'll see what they do. We'll see how many more tablets Brady break before the season over.
Nah, he done breaking tablets. We got outer boxes on him on now, so he ain't worried about that.
He got the outer boxes on. Oh shit! What's the next game?
See how much Giselle in his head.
Oh no, that's out of the. You can't win against a dude that fight for a living. Like, come on, man, fight for a living. Taekwondo. Like, what you want to do? Like, Tom, you just go ahead and just get your bread up. Like, he ain't worried about that. He ain't gotta pay no money. You straight. Just get your bread up, Tom. We ain't worried about that. Go ahead.
What's the next one?
Chargers versus Cardinals.
Chargers.
Cardinals
stink.
Yeah. I think Kyler back this game.
So what? He's still playing Call of Duty. What does it matter?
I'm gonna pick the Cardinals. They at home. Kyler back. I think he's gonna do well. You got the Raiders versus Seahawks.
Seahawks.
Raiders. You got the Rams versus Chiefs.
Chiefs about to beat the dog shit out the Rams.
Yeah.
That's finna get chaotic. They finna be in the home of the next game.
That's how much of an ass whooping it's about to be.
I'm gonna be honest with you. If you didn't say that last part, it would have made so much sense because the next game is the Saints Niners. You could have just let that rock, and it would have made so much sense. It would have been like we planned it, but we didn't. There it is. But no, you got Saints Niners.
This is difficult for you, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I'm smoking. I'm over here. I'm telling you right now. As soon as I looked at my phone, I was definitely looking like this. Hey, bro, I took a good, nice hit, but I was looking like this for sure.
So breathe. I mean, I'm picking the Niners for sure.
Man, 6, where you going?
I know where Mad Six is going. I think we all know where Mad Six is going.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
He's gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it. Andy Dalton finna beat your ass.
That's what we came to say.
The other great white hope.
This gives me mixed feelings.
I know you're gonna pick.
Let's just move on. This is Packers versus Eagles.
No. You weren't gonna let me move on from picking between Zach Wilson and Baker Mayfield.
May he rest in shit.
So you ain't getting by this one.
Matt, since you're not muted.
Matt says that's a get us demonetized like a motherfucker. Drunk Mad Six is the best of all time.
Oh God.
Straight up copyright claim demonetized because Mad Six didn't remember to mute. Damn.
That was great.
Make the pick. The Niners or the Saints?
Oh yeah, I'm picking Justin. Jalen Hurts. What are you talking about? Oh fuck, man. Oh shit. You sorry ass some bitches better fucking win, man. God damn it. This is a
Who
game.
was it?
Y'all
Philly
fuck around
and
and
who?
lose. It was Philly and Green Bay. But no, I'm saying this is a game the Niners will fuck around and lose. This is shit that's pissing me off though. That's upsetting me.
Niners
right
finna lose and Philly finna lose.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is one of those games where the Niners will fuck around and lose. This is about the time Kyle showed that he beat Rabbit. They'll lose this game, then they'll go on a fucking tear and win a bunch of fucking games.
Niners are winning.
Niners not winning.
Yep.
This the game
All
Christian
right,
McCaffrey gets hurt.
Well,
Done for the season.
Hey, that's legitimate based on what his history has been. Yeah,
What's the next? You said the Eagles and who?
The Packers.
Green Bay.
In Green Bay?
Nah, they in Philly.
Oh, then Philly.
No.
Yeah, I'll take a Philly too, man.
Yeah, for somebody who's denounced their team, you're not really doing a whole lot of fucking denouncing.
Hey, just because I'm not going with Philly don't mean nothing. I'm just
The reason why I'm
of
picking
course
Philly,
not.
think about it. You gotta think about this. Ndamukong Suh first game with the Philly. He hates Aaron Rodgers. I don't necessarily say hate, but it's more like on the
everything to
competitive
do
level.
with Mad Six wanting the Eagles to start losing so that the fucking divisional picture opens up for the fucking Cowboys. This has bullshit and blasphemous to the denouncing written all over it. All over it. Plastered like fucking graffiti on the highway where nobody can figure out how they got up there. That type of shit.
Man, come on.
He said, I denounce the team. Yeah, bullshit. That's clickbait.
That was clickbait like a motherfucker.
There was absolutely zero factual about that fucking statement. I denounce my team. Oh, I'm gonna be like, hey, okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
We can end the show right here.
Wow.
Are there any more games to go through?
Yeah, you got this shitty ass Monday night game that ain't nobody about to watch.
Who is it?
The Steelers versus the Colts.
Oh,
shit.
That shit need to be flexed like a motherfucker.
On the whole damn TV away.
I'm saying the motherfucker's trash.
Nobody really gives a shit about that.
Man, flex this shit out. Give us another day.
But, I mean, I guess I have to pick. I'm picking the Colts.
No, I'm gonna say Mike. Because Jeff been getting some good. He been getting good little wins. You know what I'm saying? But he ain't doing that against Mike Tomlin. He ain't going for that. You gotta remember, like, the Colts got to play offense. Colts got to play offense, and I think if Micah back, Minka. If Minka Fitzpatrick back,
it'll be tough.
The moment Ryan fucking decides to throw the ball in the air, it's gonna get picked.
Factual statement.
They stop giving that bitch to Jonathan Taylor. It's over. It's over. The game will be lost. Forever lost.
Forever and ever. And ever again. Shit. Oh, okay. So tomorrow, San Jose State, Hawaii. We will be there. 12:30 game time. Senior night. Let's see what else we got there.
Hold on. Look at this beaut. Look at this beaut right here. Oh my god. I love when I run this bitch right here. This beaut. You see this beaut right here?
Still reminds me of when Corey went, is that fucking Kodak Black? What the? Oh
this beaut
shit! Is
right
that
here?
Kodak?
Oh yeah.
There we go.
It's a beaut right here. You see her?
Getting
Oh
high
yeah.
quality shots tomorrow.
Oh yeah. It's a beaut.
Down the line is coming out. The second episode, or the second installment, I should say, is coming out very, very soon. The third one, what we will be covering tomorrow, will be coming out after that. Let's see, what else do we have? We got another show come Tuesday. Shout out to Coach Zoe. Today is his birthday. Happy birthday, Coach Zoe.
Happy
Birthday is out.
And we'll see him tomorrow. And we gotta have more of this. I swear, we have to have more of this matchsticks on the show. It's an absolute 100% must.
God, yes.
We gotta have this more. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us on Facebook, on Twitch, on Twitter, and on YouTube. Getting pretty much all the episodes that I have not put up yet on Spotify, getting those up so everybody can be able to listen to the audio version of that. Be with us tomorrow during the game. We'll give you all the updates from San Jose State and Hawaii. Until next time, for myself, JP, for the 6'10 Beast from the Southeast, Mr. Country K, and the greatest fucking DJ in the world.
Yeah, baby. It's time to go fuck up some food.
We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, peace.
Hey, man.